Hi there everyone, and welcome back to Terry Travels. So this is my first video in the series of my budget travel tips. So today we're going to talk about choosing destination. Now remember, all my tips and everything are based on my own experience. So today we're going to talk about choosing a destination. So before going on a trip, I guess you kind of got to know where you're going to. Now sometimes you know exactly where you want to go to. And sometimes you kind of have an idea where you want to go, but you're not really sure. And other times, you know you got to get away, but you just have no idea where you're going. So today, for an example, we're going to start with, I kind of know where I want to go. I have some ideas, but I'm not really sure. So we're going to go on that example and we'll get started. Okay, guys. So choosing a destination, we're going to start with these 6 questions. So the first one is when? When do you want to go? Usually that's it may be based on when you have a break from school or when you have some vacation time. So you might know that you can go in March or in November or something like that. So let's pick a time. So the next question is where? Where? And what I mean by where is, do you want to go someplace hot or do you want to go someplace cold? So number 1 is when, number 2, where, and number 3, who? Who are you going on this trip with? Are you going by yourself? Are you going with like a friend? Are there 2 of you going? Or are you going in a group? Number 4, why? Why are you going on this trip? Are you going to just relax and chill? Are you going because you want some adventure? So all these questions are going to kind of help you make your decisions. So number 5, what? What do you want to do on this trip? Do you want to go hiking? Do you want to go shopping? Do you want to go surfing? Do you want to go ziplining? Do you want to play golf? What are the things that you want to do on this trip? And number 6, how? How much is your budget? Because that's going to help determine where you're going to get to go to. So we have our 6 questions. When? When are you able to go, or when are you going on this trip? Where? Hot or cold? Who? Alone, group, couple? 4, why? Relax, chill, or some kind of adventure. 5, what? What do you want to do while you're there? Do you want to swim, golf? And number 6, how? How much is your budget? So with these tools, we're going to get started. Okay, so I've taken the 6 questions and I've answered them for an example, so I can show you how I go through the process of choosing a destination. So number 1, when? I've chosen November. I live in Canada. It's cold in November. That's a good time for me to take vacation, and usually 7 to 10 days. So, number 2, where? Like I said, I live in Canada. It's cold in November. I want to go someplace hot. 3, also for where, by choosing someplace hot, and knowing that I only have 7 to 10 days, I probably have some idea where I might want to go now, because 7 to 10 days isn't very long, so I don't want to go to like Bali or Thailand where I'm going to spend 2 or 3 days on a plane if I only have 7 days. So I may have a good idea, an area I may want to travel to. Number 3, who? I'm traveling alone. It's how I mostly travel. Number 4, why am I going? Actually, for both things. I want to relax a little and I want some adventure. So I want a little bit of both. Number 5, what? What do I want to do when I'm there? I want to chill on the beach. I want to go hiking. I just want to explore some local culture. And how much? Number 6, how? How much is my budget? $700 to $1,000. So now that I've answered all these questions, I have a couple more tools that I use. So we're going to go use those tools and get us one step closer to me choosing a destination. Okay, So now that I've used those 6 questions, I looked at that I wanted to go someplace hot, that I wanted to go someplace in November, what my budget was, and what my time frame was. So 7 to 10 days means I want to go someplace close, and in November I want to go someplace hot. So for me, living in Canada, Nova Scotia, Central America, South America, and some of the islands are pretty close and very reasonable for flights, and very cheap to travel in too. So those are probably going to be something I look at. You know, by now you kind of have an idea, so you know that you want to go someplace hot, and you know that you want a little bit of adventure, and you know you want beaches. So Google, Facebook. There's all kinds of groups on Facebook. There's backpacking groups, there's travel groups. So go on and look at different places. So for me, with my time frame and the month that I want to go and where I live and my budget, I've picked 3 destinations. So I'm going to take these 3 destinations and use my next 3 tools to try and see if one wins out over all of them. So I've chosen Mexico City in Mexico and a little bit of traveling around. I've chosen Peru, and I've chosen Cuba. So these are 3 places that are fairly close. I think maybe in my budget. Just now remember, you've probably Googled, you've looked at places, you have some kind of idea now where you want to go. So these are my 3 choices. So we're going to use these tools and see if these places work. Okay, we're going to move on to the next 3 steps. So we've answered the 6 questions, and now we have these 3 steps. That's it. No more instructions. So weather and seasons. So my 3 destinations are Mexico, Cuba, and Peru. And I want to go in November. So I'm going to go online and I'm going to see what the weather's like and what the seasons are like in November for those 3 destinations. Number 2, accessibility. I'm a budget traveler. I travel by bus. I need to know how accessible where I'm going to is. Is it cheap for buses? Are buses, is there, lots of transportation for somebody on a budget? And number 3, accommodations. So I have to see if there's hostels, budget accommodations. There's no point in me going to a country where there's only 1 or 2 hostels in the whole country. That doesn't work for me as a budget traveler. I would probably pick a different destination that had more places for me to stay. So these are the next 3 tools. So I'm going to take these 3 tools and my 3 choices and destinations, and I'm going to Google and I'm going to research and I'm going to see how they all stand up. So we'll come back and we'll look at that. Okay guys, we're almost finished here. So I've taken my 3 places, Mexico, Cuba, and Peru, the 3 choices that I've made, which you've probably made a decision based on your dates and your times and your budget. You've been Googling too. So we started with where, and I wanted someplace hot. So let's see, we're gonna go through the questions and see if my 3 places, match up, yes, to their categories. Mexico, yes, is hot. Cuba, yes, is hot. And Peru is warm. And who? I'm going alone, so I want to know if I'm safe in these places. So, Mexico, fairly safe where I'm going. Cuba is safe, and Peru is pretty safe. Why I'm going is, a mixture of relaxing and adventure. Do these places all, so Mexico, yes, covers it. Cuba, yes, it covers it. And Peru, yes. So it has all the things I'm looking for. What do I want to do there? I want to hike, I want to go to the beach, I want to explore local culture. So, Mexico, yes, check. Cuba, yes, check. Peru, yes, check. So far so good. Now, how? What's my budget? Mexico fits that budget. Yes. Cuba fit my budget? Yes. Peru fit my budget? It's a little above my budget. Okay, so now we move on to my other three tools, season and weather. So whenever you go on someplace, you want to see what the weather's going to be like when you get there. So Mexico, yes, it's a good time to go. In November, it's beautiful, hot and sunny. Cuba, November, yes, good time to go. Peru, November is actually a good time to go. It's at the end of rainy season, so it won't be pouring every day. So it's a decent time to go in November to Peru. Accessibility. Mexico has great accessibility. The buses are cheap and there's tons different modes of transportation. Cuba, poor. They don't have a great bus system. They don't have a very good transportation system for budget travelers. It's mostly taxis, I believe. And Peru, accessibility. They have buses. They're pretty decent. It's okay for traveling for budget traveler. Accommodations, Mexico, great. Tons and tons of budget accommodations and cheap. Cuba. Now, from what I found when I Googled, very few. I think most places are kind of like guest houses or bed and breakfasts or rooms in people's houses type of thing, but hostels, not so much. I mean, anyway, not good. Peru, it was good. Not great, but good. They had lots of, decent accommodations, but like I said, a little bit more. So based on all my answers to all these questions, Mexico fits the bill. So Mexico is my choice. So I've used the tools, picked a couple of destinations, used my dates, and I chose a destination, Mexico. So I hope some of this helps. I hope it wasn't too confusing. Answer 6 questions where, well, first of all, when, where, who, why, what, and how. And then after that, what's the weather going to be like there? Accessibility and accommodations, especially for a budget traveler. And that's basically what this video series is based on, budget travel. So I'm trying to find the cheapest way to do things. So Mexico wins. I guess that's it. Choosing a destination. The first video is over. I hope it was somewhat helpful. I'd really appreciate it if you could comment below. Tell me, is there a better format I should be telling you guys things? Am I too confusing? Am I all over the place? Or, is it pretty understandable? Anyway, comment below, ask questions. Yeah, that's it. I guess I'll see you next Friday for the next video. See you then. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, now that the video's over, I just wanted to say a few things. The video is based on just my own experiences and stuff like that. Also, the example with Cuba, Peru, and Mexico was purely an example. I don't want people coming back saying that I'm dissing Cuba, Mexico, whatever. No, absolutely not. I love those places. I want to see all of those places. It was purely an example. When it comes to the accommodations, accessibility, I just used these as kind of an example. I didn't do full research. I know tons of people backpack in all these places, and there's lots of budget accommodations and travel available for budget travelers, I'm sure, in all these places. This was just an example. That's it. Purely an example, not researched whatsoever, just an example. So I don't want people coming down on me saying, no, Cuba's great. There's tons of places to stay. I'm sure there is. I'm not saying there isn't. An example. Another thing, people, I seem to say so a lot, and I'm not sure how to stop. So I'm sorry. See? Again. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope this was a little bit helpful, somewhat helpful, and happy travels. Peace.